Yo, what's up YouTube? I've seen other creators' opinions of Kawaki and the Shinju forming an alliance in the future of the story. But if Jura is really the Shinju reincarnation of Jigen or Ishiki, I couldn't see Kawaki forming an alliance with them, given the history between Ishiki and Kawaki. However, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Kawaki has said, even though he hated to admit it, that he and Jigen and Ishiki were all alike and on the same wavelength. So this detail in particular could lead to a possible Kawaki and Shinju alliance. But I personally believe that Kawaki will try to destroy Jura since he's the spitting image of Jigen and Ishiki. And he's already said he's going to destroy the Shinju in chapter 6 of Boruto Two Blue Vortex. I've been thinking about what powers the Shinju will possess and what powers Jura in particular will have. Since we saw that he had a cube, I've thought that he could inherit a distorted claw mark version of the Daikokuken ability. I know all the Shinju will be able to use claw mark abilities, but I mean the abilities that will be exclusive to those Shinju only. And also, as everyone should be aware by now, Shibai's corpse will indeed be a big point of interest going forward in the story, because Code, Ada, and Damon were all modified from Shibai's remains. And even though Boruto says he thinks the Shinju became sentient because of the white karma seal, they still all bear the claw marks. And that is the ability Code inherited from Shibai himself. Even though it hasn't been stated, I believe the Shinju, if they consume Code, Ada, or Damon, the resulting evolution of the consumption will draw the Shinju to want to consume the remains of Shibai himself. We don't know as readers where the remains are located. And though Amado said that he modified the trio of cyborgs from Shibai's remains, I don't believe they're in Amado's possession. Since the three cyborgs were enhanced with Shibai's DNA, giving them his abilities, the Shinju will want to draw out the corpse, given that it's still Otsutsuki. But in the interim, they will consume who their instincts are driving them to. But in the long run, Shibai's remains will probably be a plan B if Boruto or Kawaki won't be consumed by the Shinju. But since Ada, Damon, and Code have Shibai's DNA, I believe that if one of them get eaten, it'll make the Shinju crave and draw out the corpse out of gluttony. The sentient Shinju already know about the Senrigan, so it'll be interesting if they consume Ada and gain the Senrigan themselves. So it's already bad news, but if Ada or the corpse of Shibai gets consumed, that would be really bad news. That's for Boruto, the 5 great nations, and the whole universe. We are on the road to uncovering the history of the Otsutsuki and the Shinju through the story of Two Blue Vortex, and we're finally heading toward the area of 8-path sensitivity in the ninja world. We're going to witness a whole new level of power through the Shinju. Not only are they evolving differently, but they're still evolving even further as we speak. They possess the 6-path Rinnegan, but I believe that through evolution their eyes will continue to evolve even further as well. As we learned from Naruto Shippuden, the Rinnegan is evolved from the Mangekyo Sharingan. But after the Rinnegan was attained by Madara or Sasuke, we never saw another level of power from the eye. Madara had the Rinne Sharingan that Kaguya possessed when he absorbed the Ten Tails, but he didn't have enough time to fully utilize its abilities. Sasuke, after obtaining the Rinnegan, did go on to fight Naruto, but after the war ended, he decided to let his hatred go, and we learned that the more despair an Uchiha feels, the stronger their visual prowess. But since Sasuke let his hatred go, his eyes never got stronger. Now the Rinnegan is the pinnacle of Dojutsu, but I believe it can still evolve simply because in the Otsutsuki clan, we know that there are rankings. And aside from Shibai Otsutsuki, the highest ranking Otsutsuki to date is, you guessed it, Ishiki Otsutsuki himself. And we know this because his symbol was placed on the highest Otsutsuki panels that depicted the Otsutsuki who had came to Earth. And if you're new to the channel, you can always check out my video why Ishiki is the strongest in the Naruto Boruto verse. Ishiki Otsutsuki didn't possess a Rinnegan, but he was knowledgeable of it. if you've seen from his many encounters with Sasuke Uchiha. When Ishiki revived through Jigen, he possessed a Byakugan and an unnamed dojutsu that Kawaki has inherited due to being Ishiki's vessel. This unnamed dojutsu is why I said the term 6 paths, or rather 8 paths sensitivity. We saw 6 paths in Naruto Shippuden, but Boruto Naruto Next Generations and Boruto Two Blue Vortex will be 8 paths and beyond. Now, if we all remember, before Ishiki died and Kawaki stomped out his remains, it showed a close-up of Ishiki before Kawaki landed on him. And that close-up is why I believe Ishiki used an 8-path Shinjutsu as well as a last resort before his soul was extinguished. I saw very few content creators comment on it, but nobody really dove that deep into it. But it could be really nothing at all. But it really caught my time, or my eye rather, when I was reading it the first time, and even when I saw it animated. To this day, we still don't know the name of Ishiki's unnamed dojutsu, or all of its abilities for that matter. But we do know, like the Jogan, Shibai Otsutsuki also possessed this unnamed dojutsu. I know it sounds far-fetched, but since we don't know the full abilities of the dojutsu, anything could be possible. Back in Naruto Shippuden, we didn't learn that the Rinnegan was capable of Rinne rebirth until Naruto managed to soothe Nagato's heart, and we learned that the Rinnegan had a 7th path. This unnamed dojutsu and the Jogan both haven't surfaced yet name-wise in the manga, but I believe the threat that Toneri was speaking of at the start of Boruto Part 1 was the Shinju, or perhaps what the Shinju could still evolve into. In Boruto Part 1 Opening 4, I believe the giant monster represents the Shinju, and to overcome the horror to come, Boruto's Jogan will illuminate the darkness like it's shown in that opening. I also believe that down the line in the story we will learn more mechanics of the White Karma Seal, and why it affected the Shinju in such a way that it became sentient. Also, 8-path sensitivity shouldn't be such a far-fetched term. Momoshiki said that throughout the centuries, many Otsutsuki have used omnipotence. So other than omnipotence, I'm sure there are other powers and abilities that our characters on Earth aren't affected by, that only Otsutsuki or Shinju know of. And I'm sure we'll learn in the story going forward what those things are. But what do you guys think? Am I reading too deep into the Ishiki panel? I mean, it did show a close-up on the panel right before Kawaki jumped on him. But what do you guys think? What are you guys looking forward to in the next chapter of Two Blue Vortex? I'm sure Boruto will win against Mitsuki, but Mitsuki is no scrub. I mean, when Part 1 started, I'm sure everyone's with me when I can say that Mitsuki was the strongest of Team 7 out of him, Boruto, and Sarada. We also learned in Part 1 that Mitsuki's body breaks down when he uses Sage Mode. So I wonder in the time skip, did Orochimaru make any improvements to Mitsuki so that he can bypass the drawbacks of it?
Lastly, if you saw the thumbnail, you see that I have a picture of Anti-Pops from regular show alongside Shibai. I didn't draw any connection between the two. However, I believe that if the Shinju do find and devour Shibai's body, that the Shinju will evolve into a negative version of Shibai. Since Shibai hasn't been introduced in the story yet, we don't really know whether he's evil or actually good. But I believe that if the Shinju do devour the corpse, they'll become a negative version of him, somewhat looking like Anti-Pops, but a Shibai version of that. And that could very well be the worst possible outcome for everyone on Earth. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. See you guys next time. Later.